We back, y'all. What's poppin'? I hope y'all had a blessed week. I finally tracked down this man. He went AWOL for a minute there. I thought I had
Oh
to
boy.
call Child Protective Services or the cops or something to figure out what happened. Are you okay, Brendan?
I'm good, man. We're in these YouTube streets, you and I've been doing my own thing. And I don't know. I forgot about you last week. Something happened. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. This look, rule of life, y'all. It's okay to bug people. I don't have a problem double text and triple text and quadruple text. This is what I do. And if people don't like it, they just got to deal with it. Or you can put a block on the phone. But without further regard, let's get this episode started, y'all.
I am reincarnated. I was stargazing. Life goes on. I need her, my babies. Woke up looking for the broccoli. High key, keep a horn on me. That come my seat. IP ownership. The blueprint is by me.
Yeah, we back.
You find a way. You always have something cooking.
He was like, "Oh snap! I wasn't ready for that. I don't listen to that dangerous sounding music."
I liked it. It
That's
was good.
look,
It was fun.
and so yeah, that's the sneak. If y'all don't know what song that is, that's a sneak peek of Kendrick Lamar's new song, and that's able to be played without video restriction because he allows everyone
Okay.
to stream and say his song, and he took all copyright infringements off the song, and that snippet is in the music video on the YouTube channel, so that counts.
All right. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you. I would hate to think that you'd lose monetization on this thing. So I'm
It was
glad
in
that
last
you're going
week's
to be.
video too, so I know you didn't watch last week's video, but it was in week two. So, and we
I
all good.
missed it. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I'm excited for this one because what we're talking fall camp starting up for Mizzou. You might have some unique perspective on this. You used to hold some clipboards or something during fall camp, no? What are we getting into today?
We used to go back and forth with the clipboards, me and the other DBs and whatnot, and we just looked at the plays, and then we went in. That was the clipboard was for. But sometimes, I had it on game day because I had a little more insight. That's why sometimes I didn't get in the game because they knew I would be more beneficial helping the players on the sideline. They wanted me to be
Exactly.
coach, but I couldn't do all that. We gonna get into fall camp. We gonna just today's episode, y'all, is we gonna preview. We gonna see what's going on with Mizzou practice number 3 because that was the most recent one that has completed, and then I'll give you a little perspective on what fall camp, and we'll go a little more in depth about that. But first, we gonna get into this article real quick, y'all. This is KNBC 17 News. Mizzou football completes practice number 3 of fall camp. You got Drinkwitz in the cut, looking happy. He got a nice hoodie on. I like that
They got
hoodie.
some good drip. The coaching staff always have
They
nice
always get better
hoodies.
stuff.
I
He got
know
the
it.
pink visor on too, so he really on
Mm.
his game right now. Okay. Mizzou football team has officially closed the book on practice number 3. Drinkwitz and company begin the afternoon inside the Stevens indoor facility for the open media. I should have been there. Actually, I did get invited to spring practice number whatever this weekend on the 3rd. So if you want to go in my place, you can go and cover it. If you
I would go. I should be going already on behalf of KTGR, but I'm about an hour and a half away, so it's just probably not gonna happen this weekend.
First year Mizzou defense coordinator Corey Batoon, I hope he got that Batoon for the defense this year because they're going to need it, is in the midst of his first fall camp as a leader of the Mizzou defense, at least at last Sunday's media availability. Batoon, emphasis, last name cracking me up, emphasized the
It's good.
mindset heading into camp. I mean,
You know what I came up with for this? It's
what?
pretty good. So you change defensive coordinators, and people are a little bit worried defense isn't going to be the same. So I came up with for Corey Batoon, it's Batuna Matata. Means no worries for the defense. Everything's going to be just fine. You like that? It's pretty good. Pretty
Hashtag
good.
Batuna Matata.
I'm
Okay,
telling you.
so does that mean that they just gonna be willy nilly and not care about whatever happens and
No, we
lose
just
all
don't.
their responsibilities like Simba did, and then the whole Pride Lands goes to shit?
Whoa. Don't turn this around on me. As Mizzou fans, we don't have to worry about the defense. That's what I mean.
I- I-
Defense is going to be
it-
okay, DeAndre. I know you're not there
so
anymore to help them out with a clipboard, but they'll be all right.
so it means no worries for the rest of your days, huh? That's what we going
Unless you're
with.
facing the Mizzou defense, and you ought to worry. If you're on the other side, that's going to be a problem for you.
Okay, well let's hope though. Let's hope. I'll hashtag that Batuna Matata.
Just
First,
saying.
Batuna Matata. Batuna emphasized the mindset heading into camp and how he plans to leave his mark on the program's self-proclaimed death row defense.
You said that like you don't believe the man. Was it? Come on
When
now.
it's
You got to
something
have
self,
something.
okay, look. When something's self-proclaimed, I gotta chuckle a little bit. You can't
No, you.
self-proclaim yourself things. You gotta have other people say, "Hey, their defense is tight," or "Hey, that person is legit." You can't just say, "Oh yeah, we're self-proclaiming ourselves king." I don't know about that, coach.
You don't think so? When you were there, Gary Pinkel, you guys didn't have any certain kind of slogans that you kind of rallied around as a team?
Yeah, but we had said we got to come and prove it. Nobody's gonna give us nothing. We had a slogan saying "Leave nothing, take everything." I think that
There you
was
go.
2014, I believe. That's not like saying, "Oh, we're self-proclaiming us king." We gotta leave nothing behind. And I was actually 2015, which didn't we ain't gonna talk about
No,
2015
well,
today. And you had to take everything. So it's like we don't have nothing, so we got to take everything, whatever. Even though we
there
were
was
back-to-back SEC East championships at that point, but still, we weren't coming in here saying we're the kings
yeah.
and everyone's gonna take something from us. So
Well,
I don't know about the
STP.
whole.
They were STP last year, something to prove, and I still think there is something to that. But it's okay to when nobody everybody's doubting the defense right now this time of the summer. And so look, death row defense. I'm sure it means something to those players. So if they can rally around it, I don't have an issue with it.
You know what death row comes from, right?
I've heard, yeah, I've heard a thing or two. Do you have some
So
insight to
you don't know where it comes from, do you?
within the program?
No, death row.
Oh, I know what
Death
that
row.
is.
What?
I tried to.
Not
I
the
tried.
literal death row. Death row
Oh,
records.
oh no, I'm not familiar with that. Is that a
Death
music
row.
thing?
Yes, it's a music thing. Death row records is Suge Knight's record label. Essentially, he started when he had Snoop Dogg on the record label. He had Easy E on the record label, and eventually Easy E, Easy E's dead, but a lot of people on death row end up dying
Rest
or
in
getting
peace.
incarcerated and whatnot. So it didn't end up well for them. Death row records is an infamously, notoriously bad record label to work for because they was like threatening and hurting people in order to do what they
Oh,
wanted them to do. So I guess in that context, Mizzou defense gonna hurt you if y'all don't like get in line. But I don't look. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if they were going for the music label thing, but maybe we can ask them about it. I don't know.
We'll see, coach. We'll see. Let's continue this. Fundamentally, how are we getting better? Our tackling technique's getting better. How's my pass rush technique getting better? And blah blah blah. It's eye progression, this, that, and the third. Nothing really going on. Death row has always been about first and foremost stopping the run. At the end of the day, you've got to make an offense single-handed. Taking care of the run has always been about what we are. Is it confusing and hitting the quarterback? These are the fundamentals that Coach Drink has set up, how he wants his defense to look. Stopping the
Whose
run,
side are you on over here?
it's
You're
just not
questioning
adding up.
everything.
Hey, look, transparency, Coach. Transparency. I'm just saying. It ain't been about that last year, and you can't even say that, so stop it.
They
I'm
didn't
just
stop
saying,
the
like,
run last year.
our defense wasn't that great last year.
What
It wasn't.
planet are you from? What
Mizzou's
are you
defense was
talking
great
about?
last year. Mizzou's defense was
Yes.
great last year. Great.
Defense
Great.
carried the thing for a while. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, man. They got the now listen, LSU
In
game.
Ohio, in the bowl game, sure, because they wasn't playing half their players.
Well, that's not true. They had like 3 or 4 guys that were out, not more than that. And the Missouri defense had a lot of attrition, a lot of guys that got injured and guys had to step into roles. And a lot of those guys are back here this year that had to come around late in the season to contribute. They had a very good defense last year. I'd have to pull up the stats on it, but I'm surprised that you're as big of a hater as you are right now.
I'm not a hater. I'm just speaking facts. I could look if you have a great defense. You know what? We'll pull
Very
up
good
something in a
defense.
minute. We'll pull
Maybe
up
not
something in a minute. We got the highlights of Mizzou's third practice. We ain't going through the whole thing. We're just gonna go through like a minute or so of the highlights. So let's check and see what they doing real quick. See if it's worth it. Oh, the audio is bad on their part.
Well, we don't need the audio. We're talking.
You got
looks
some
like
drill
some guys
going on.
playing football. That's good.
Okay.
I like those
I've
big
done that
helmets.
drill. That drill is a good drill. Okay.
Did it
Let's
make you
speed this up
good
a
at
little
football?
bit.
There's
It
Batoon.
helps. It doesn't really do nothing. That's Batoon right there.
Yeah, I like the Guardian caps on the helmets. You ever
I
wear
don't.
those?
I hate those. No, we never wore those. We didn't have those.
They
That
try and
drill
keep
I
you
did a
safe.
lot. Nobody. Okay. These are just basic drills and whatnot. We got the usual. Everyone's getting their licks in and whatnot. Third day of camp is the first day you can wear full pads too. If you didn't know that, by the way.
I didn't.
Yeah, first day you can wear full pads. So they're really doing the hitting emphasis. And he's sweating. This dude, he's going ham. I don't know who that is.
He's not wearing pads, but it doesn't look like he needs them.
Yeah, he's ready to go in. More drills and whatnot. Okay. Let's see if we can get to the little bit. We got Mr.
Oh, there's
Cook.
12. There's 12.
He has a new practice jersey. Are they going to be hitting in practice? Let's see. I
Well,
doubt
he's
it.
wearing the gold, I think, just to not touch him. Look at the tiger paw on the back of the pads. You see that?
Oh, that is
That's
lit.
so
That's
cool.
lit. That's nice. Okay, we got some new
11's not
swag
wearing it,
going
but
on. We got some new swag going on.
oh
Check
yeah,
down.
little
That's
hits out
what
of the
we.
backfield. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Good
Bring it.
job. I see you, Cook. There we
I
go.
see him
Check
cooking.
down. Are we gonna get another check down?
Maybe.
Hey,
There it is. Well, listen, there's nobody else on the field. It's just a running back drill.
are they?
Oh, look at this. Look
Are
at
we
that
not
cut
going
across the middle.
7-on-7? Is this just
Lethal.
all on air?
These guys are lethal. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I
this
like what I
practice
see.
looks very. Look, they're only allowed to record a certain portion of camp.
Well, they don't show the media
practice.
anything. The media doesn't get to see really anything that's real. That's why every highlight video that you see on TV is going to be, halfback leaks out of the backfield to catch a pass against no humans. Like that's college football. They button it up to the media pretty heavily, which is fine. They want to keep some things bottled in there.
Yeah, I forget that we do have. There's like that's the first half of practice. The second half of practice is we're going 11-on-11, 7-on-7, 1-on-1s, and they don't. I forget the media doesn't come in until after that's over with. So,
Yeah.
and if they are in during that, they tell them they can't record certain portions because they don't want to give away their game plans or whatnot.
Exactly.
But yes,
Mizzou last year offensively, they took like 3 games before bringing their full offense out. They didn't really unveil it till the K-State game, and that almost cost them against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, no, they just trying to try some new things out.
Oh,
you know?
I love it.
I mean,
I get it.
Last I checked, the Middle Tennessee State game, our defense wasn't playing that great either. Neither was K-State. So,
I'm still looking up the total defense last year yardage to see.
Okay, go ahead and do that. While you do that, I'm gonna get into
38th overall. Not bad. Playing in the SEC, 38th total defensive yardage. That's okay. They had a good defense last year, DeAndre. Come on now. Just because Jay Daniels
good, not
carved
great.
them up.
Good, not great. Good, not.
All right,
great.
that's fair. That's fair. Good enough for their coordinator though to leave for LSU for like the highest paid assistant salary. Clearly, he was doing something right.
Well, he had a lot of players drafted too, so I think
a lot of
that
pros.
helps.
So yeah, that's part of why it was a good defense. So,
but that's different though. You can have a great players get drafted would not play well together. I mean, that you see that all the time with certain teams that don't have a great season and they have a lot of players drafted. So
I think
I don't really think that they played okay. I'm not saying they played bad. Defense played all right.
Better as the year went along too.
Yeah, they played better as the year went. But we also got to look at everything. The schedule.
28th in opponent's point per game. That's pretty good.
The schedule.
They play the SEC. That's a tough schedule.
Come on, coach.
What's a better conference than the SEC?
I'm not saying look, the team. There's certain there's levels in the SEC. There's levels. We got, Nick Jr. and Nickelodeon. We was at a Nick Jr. schedule last year, and this year we got a Nick Jr. schedule. That's okay. That's okay. As long as we capitalize, I don't care if we play Weenie Hut Jr. We still gonna get to the college football playoff, and that's gonna be all right. As long as
is Nickelodeon giving you kickbacks for all these little references, little cameos to SpongeBob and stuff?
We're trying to get sponsorships. All right, I would have had the SpongeBob sound effects, but we didn't get to that yet. But we'll get to that soon.
Okay.
But yes, y'all, sound. College fall camp is a time to where the players. It's time to fine tune things. Now, what some people don't realize is fall camp isn't really for everybody. And when I mean it ain't for everybody is Brady Cook don't need to really try hard in fall camp. Luther Bird don't need to try hard for fall camp. It's not about those players that the media is watching and taking notes on like we don't already know what's going to happen. Brady Cook could have an incompletion every single pass in practice and still be the starter when it comes to game 1. These practices are for the tweeners. The 2s, the 3s, the 4s who don't, and certain ones who don't have their spot solidified.
Were you a 4? And what was your number?
It's a stressful time. I went between 2 and 4.
Okay. I gotta drop those in there.
Look, a brother like me, yes, I went into fall camp and I couldn't slack off. I couldn't go in there chilly, willy-nilly. I had to get my chili hot, as they like to say, early at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Because Lifeline was on the line, if little do they know, there's a lot of dire consequences in fall camp that you have to deal with if you don't perform well. You watch film every single day of the yesterday's practice, and you don't want to get clowned on in front of the whole team. The coaches, they talk about every single player every single day in their meetings, every single one, every single day. So therefore, you got to make sure that you have getting a good respects with them, and because that can go a long way as well. Like I said, it doesn't matter about the people who you know at the top who are gonna, get all the reps in the game. It's not about them. It's about everybody else. So I think people overlook those things and understand what fall camp really is for. Yes, it's to get the game plan ready, but you don't really start game planning until a week before the first game. You really don't. You just get all the fundamentals in, and then you start game planning for whoever the first game is 7 to 10 days prior. Other than that, you're trying to see who's going to be on your special teams, who's going to be your third down back, your nickel back, your fullback if you have a package with that, like those little things, because somebody could come out the blue. Your freshman, who the freshman gonna be that's gonna be playing. There's always gonna be a freshman that pops out of there. So that's the real meaning behind fall camp, and to kind of weed the ones who don't really fit the mold out of there. A lot of people gonna get kicked off the team in fall. Get kicked off the team. Not a lot of people. Some people gonna get kicked off the team in fall camp because it's not college ain't what they thought it was, or the transfers coming in can't get with the program, whatever it might be. There's always a lot of change from the beginning to the end of fall camp. And one thing that I have learned along the way of the fall camps that I have been, so I did five camps, four or five, technically four, because my freshman year I did not go to MIZZOU, and that was my first fall camp. Second year we had the rule in place where you transferred, you had to sit out a year, so I had to sit out, I had to watch. And then the next three fall camps I was there. And I will say that one thing, it's a lot different now with the NIL, and then the rules. You don't have 2-a-days no more. You only can hit a certain amount. You're living with the guys. You learn how everyone is. But one thing that I think that people don't really speak too much about is just the living situation that you got to be in. You got to live in the dorms,
right?
You got to live with a smelly teammate of yours who don't shower and wash their toes. You got to deal with them talking to their girlfriend all hours of the night while
they got to be focusing on football. Yeah, what are we doing here?
It's just what it is.
Oh.
And the little things like that can change drastically. You don't get much sleep. You wake up, you got practice at 6, 7 in the morning, and you tired, and then you miss a play, and they go for 70 yards down the field, and that's on you. Well, that's really on your teammate who kept you up all night. So it's a lot of little things that people don't know that goes into effect for a lot of the players, and it's not, like I said, I'll repeat this again, not talking about the star players or the featured starters, the role players and the backup players, because that was my area of expertise, was being a backup. So I can speak on that.
There you go.
But yes, I know the star players, they don't have to they had to focus in and chime in, but they were fine. I mean, I can use a prime example. Matty Mock, he had his spot. Drew Lock came in fall camp his freshman year and started zinging, zing, 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 zing. Like, we were like, dang, this dude is nice. He was going crazy.
Yeah.
And Matty didn't really have that great of a fall camp, Like, Matty Mock is more of a game. He looks better in a game than he would in practice type of dude, because he has to scramble. He has to improvise a lot to really show his athletic ability to to the full amount. But in practice, that's not really what you do. You got to just, as a quarterback, you don't need to be scrambling and stuff like that. You won't be able to see it because it's touch. You just touch the quarterback, he's out. So... But then again, people were like, "Oh, is Drew going to start?" Like, no way in hell Drew was going to start, no matter how good he did. Because
not at the very beginning. Yeah.
But that proves my point. Like, fall camp matters, but for bona fide starters, it's not really like, it's just mental preparation, I feel.
Right.
And getting the connection with, your offensive linemen, your receivers, your running backs, to make sure y'all all on the same page. Do you have any is there any misconceptions you think you might have about fall camp?
No, I just think people would want to hear from you more about, rather than misconceptions. Like, I think a lot of people could be on board with understanding that the starters that are obvious bona fides are not going to lose their spot based on things that happen in camp. But the expectation too has to, you'd like to think guys are coming in and playing like their spots up for grabs, even though it isn't. That's something that you can build upon. But no, just the general kind of vibe of the camp. You mentioned it a little bit. Why do you got to live in the dorms? What do you think you get out of that? What's the reasoning behind that?
It's the whole remember the Titans philosophy, it's we gonna live together. You gonna live with a white player. You gonna live with a bet. Nah, that we don't do all that.
Careful.
But nah, it's just look. I think the dorms are a little outdated. They want people to be easily accessible to get to practice on time and whatnot. But the problem is during the season, you got to be at home. You're not in the dorms at home or during the season, so. It's just to get everyone at a base standpoint as we're one team, one sound type settings. You're only in the dorms for about 2 weeks and then you can go back to your house. So it's not really that big of a deal, but I think it's more just a tradition type of thing. I'm sure some schools may even not do it anymore. It's not that bad being in a dorm, but it's a twin size bed and you got to share your room, which
bunch of big football players too. I mean, those
Yeah.
beds probably are. It's funny too because I think like the Chiefs, like the NFL teams, I still feel like do these kinds of things where the Chiefs are in St. Joe's, Missouri, and it's like that's professional athletes, but even at the SEC level, it seems like a little bit of a reductive sort of thing. But I guess if they're breeds the camaraderie they're looking for, it's something that you still do, like you said, tradition.
Well, I'm wondering now that I never really thought about it too much till now is like these big 300-pound linemen on these twin size mattresses that they don't really fix the bedding on. You've seen the bed. You've been in the dorms before. You know what the bedding is like. It's not that great. You back. Maybe that could be a cause of injury for some because of the bedding. I never really thought about that till now. So it's like maybe we should let people be at home or get them Tempur-Pedic mattresses for these beds or something because we want to get them everything else. And it's like that's the most important thing is how you sleep. That's really the most important. And if you're not sleeping comfortably, then you're not going to practice or play comfortably. So
yeah, but shouldn't you not really be pampered during camp? You need to kind of rough it so you can get mentally tough for the season. Is that part of it? You don't want to be
sleeping. I don't think sleeping well is being pampered. I'm gonna put it like that. No, I think the bed suck. I'm not gonna lie. The bed suck. Your back is gonna wake up feeling some type of way. I think that yes, you gotta fit. Toughness is a key. It's a mental thing. But the thing is how fall camp works. The schedule is you wake up at pretty much 5:30 in the morning. If you don't have rehab or in the training room, you got practice. You have a meeting before practice sometimes. The meeting would be around 6:30. Then you got practice at 7 a.m. for 2.5 hours. Then you got recovery after that. Then you got film right after that. Then you have some people have like a little mini workout they do, like get on treadmill and whatever. The people who need to lose weight, cardio. Then you have a little bit of time off for lunch. Then you get back to another meeting, multiple meetings, special teams meetings, defensive meetings, offensive meetings. Then you have another practice. If not a practice nowadays, then you'll do a walkthrough. Then after that, you have more meetings. It's a lot. And then by the time
what's the time it's over? When are you done for the day?
You're not done till like 7 o'clock, 6, 7
o'clock.
Man,
okay.
So it's a 12-hour day essentially, which you're doing stuff. And then in the meantime, you'll get a nap in the middle of the day too and whatnot. But say you're injured, you got to do rehab throughout that. Injured to the point where you can still practice, but you need a rehab. You got to rehab in between all that stuff. Also, you have to go get your physicals done some days. Some people get their physicals done some days. Some days people have to go to school to register. Some people have to go move in their place at the same time living at the dorm still. So it's a lot of extra things that goes into it that really cramps everything together. So it's a mental thing. It's honestly, looking back, it's really, I'm making it sound like it's the hardest thing on earth. It's difficult, but you get what you need. You get the food that you want. You get the free meals. You get the treatment the best treatment, ice tub, hot tub, the foam rolls, the massages. Oh yeah, I forgot at night. If people get massages at night after practice too, the whole nine.
Pretty good.
No Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick massages. But, you know what I mean. And it's this is a kind of a thing that people don't realize is you're in this schedule. You got everything planned out for you for X amount of time. Well, some players, that's a detriment to them because once they go back to their house and whatnot, they don't have this like strict schedule. They start losing themselves. They have free time
Okay.
to do extracurricular activities that could get some people in trouble. And I'm not saying they need to lock down the football players the whole time, but I just wish they would really emphasize because the coaches we didn't ever have talks about, okay, guys, we have this schedule. Now that you're not on this schedule no more, you still need to make your own schedule so you're not preoccupied with other things. It was kind of just like when we're done, all right, you're going to your houses. All right, we'll see you in practice. Like they didn't really get down to the nitty gritty on like, okay, like now we're not going to be responsible for you 24/7 like this is a like this is a daycare. You have to make your own schedule to make sure that you're not getting in trouble, this, that, and the third. So I think that just
It
needs to
seems
be
like you
emphasized.
understand that though. Like you're talking about it like you understand that. I think the
I
players
understood it.
probably right. Not
But some
everybody
people
maybe.
don't. But some people don't. I luckily grew up
Yeah.
to where I had to wake up at 7 o'clock on Saturday, Sunday mornings and go do stuff. I couldn't just have willy nilly the whole time, you know. So that's just me personally. A lot of people with free idle time, they don't need idle time. I could use a few examples. My homie Dorial Green Beckham didn't need idle
Well,
time.
yeah.
My homie Maddie didn't really need idle time. You know, I ain't trying to throw y'all in the bus, but I'm just saying y'all didn't need the idle time. And I mean, I'm gonna tell this one story real quick. This is a story I ain't told.
Uh-oh.
So I remember one call camp. The camp was almost, I can't remember, the camp was almost over. Now during camp, there's no students on campus, but some people get to campus early.
Right.
And a teammate of mine, he said, "Hey, do you want to come with me to this sorority house?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And so we go to the sorority house, and it's this player has one of those mopeds, like the
Yeah.
mopeds. And so I get on the back of the moped, and we get to the house and whatnot, and we get inside, and it's on and popping in the house. Like they're having a whole. It's not pop. It's like maybe 5 or 6 girls and me and 2 other teammates of mine there. You know, it's some things it's some things bottles popping, some other things topping, a whole bunch of getting lit up in there. And it's probably 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon after our walkthrough or practice that we had.
Right.
And I'm just like, man, we got practice in the morning. And so I'm just like, how long you plan on being here? Because I didn't drive. He drove me on his thing. He
Yeah.
had his moped. He's like, I don't know. We'll be here for a while. I was like, okay.
You're in a pickle.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, he wanted me there. I don't know. I guess I didn't need to be there. He just invited me, I guess. But I felt like I was kind of responsible for this player because this player was a prominent player on the team.
Right.
And if anything happens and anybody's with somebody, you always get asked, well, who else was there? And so I was like, so I stayed for a little bit. I wasn't drinking though. I was like, look, I'm not drinking during this fall camp. Like, that's something I did not do. During fall camp, I like didn't communicate with nobody. I was chimed in.
What do
But
most people do at night though? Like, is that common, or I mean, and look,
people go to sleep.
you're not speaking
People
on the
go to
current team, obviously, but just in your experience.
Some people go out and sneak out.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
idiotic. The first 2 weeks of camp, nobody's really doing that has any half of a brain because if you get caught, like there's coaches guarding the doors at night to make sure no one sneaks out. They have interns and GAs guarding the doors to make sure you walk in the hallways to make sure nobody gets out at night. So during the first 2 weeks of camp, but this is when camp's almost over. So some
Right.
people, you know, they're letting loose a little bit. And during this time, you know, people usually, I would just go to sleep. I would go home, watch study film for the next day, go to sleep and whatnot. But some people, they just didn't because they just didn't, you know, not everyone's the same. But it comes like 8, 9 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. So I walk back to my car. Now, this is, if you're familiar with MIZZOU, the Greek houses in the MIZZOU aren't too far from each other. But then I get my car and I'm like, man, should I go pick them up? I felt bad. And so I get in my car and drive back to the sorority house.
Yeah.
And I see him on his moped driving back somewhere. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, hey. I was like, bruh, get in the car. He's like, oh, I'm good. And then just takes off, zoom, like floors it and is gone. And I'm just like, oh, Lord.
Oh, no. Well, you
That
did
was
try.
rough.
You did try to do the right thing. Try to help
You know,
him out.
it happens, you know. I can't control these things. I was just in a bad spot because the thing is, if you get caught up in that too, if you get caught or even seen, because a lot of people will see the coaches tell like their communications with campus police and whatnot. So they say like, if you see anything, let us know. But yeah, I couldn't get caught up because if I got caught up, there'd be more punishment for me if I got caught up than somebody else would if they got caught up. So
Well, sure.
that's a little story of mine, just showing like the really what's going on inside fall camp. I mean, I got a ton of fall camp stories, but that one kind of, I'll just say near the end of camp, at the beginning of camp, everyone's excited to be there, and they're real. You see the videos of MIZZOU, like, oh, the players are moving into the dorms, everyone's happy, and it's cool. But at the end, you're tired of fall camp. You're ready to get out. You're tired of seeing the same things every single day, the same people in the same rooms in the same hallways. You're ready to get out and live your own life. People start acting up at the end of fall camp. I'm not gonna lie, it gets a little hectic.
I think the current team's above that. I think the current teams, they're going to be.
I think so too.
You're out of there, so there's no issues with that anymore. I mean, that was probably a common denominator back in the day.
My bad influence is out. I mean,
that's right.
Some players I was hoping wouldn't show up to practice so I can get some more reps.
Oh boy. It's like the guy on the moped. He was the number 2 at your position. Sorry, buddy. See ya.
Hey, you got it. Hey, go ahead. Nah, I wouldn't do such a thing.
No, you're not that kind of guy.
I wouldn't be. I'm here for everyone's best interest, for the team. I'm here for the team. But yeah, y'all, that's the fall camp breakdown. We're not going to go over too much of fall camp because fall camp, like I said, it's fall camp. There's no need to look in depth of too much of what's going on unless there's a freshman that ends up starting. That would be the only big story that you get from fall camp. Everything else, Brady Cook completes to Luther Burden for a scrimmage touchdown. Brady Cook rushes the ball in for a touchdown.
Oh,
the defense gets stops. Like, it's fall camp. It's fall camp. It's exciting for the player's perspective, but I think as a fan perspective, fall camp is just... Yeah, unless you really love.
Getting closer. That's it. The season's getting
closer. It's getting closer. So we have, lastly, before we exit out, we had a couple SEC Olympians get some medals, and those Olympians that got the medals.
He's pulling it up. He's going to find it.
I just had it up, and I accidentally exit out of it.
Oh, dear.
Here we go. Okay, I got it. So, the SEC Olympian that got a medal is Miss Connolly. Makes Olympics history, wins third career Olympic medal. Erica Connolly brings home Olympic hardware as Team USA's 4x1 100-meter relay takes silver. I watched that race, too. Becoming the first Tennessee swimmer ever to win 3 Olympic medals. It was a good race. It was close. Actually, no, the second place was close, but first place blew him out the water. I think it was Australia. Won. So yeah, after winning the silver medley, Connolly became the first lady vol swimmer ever to win 3 Olympic medals. Joining Melvin Stewart as the only swimmers in Tennessee. Melvin, that sounds like a black dude's name. To win in swimming.
Where you come up with that? Why are you profiling?
That's a black name. That's a black name. But yes, I want to see who they lost to. It doesn't say.
Well, that's okay.
Shout out Tennessee's Connolly. I don't know which one she is in this picture, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm assuming it's this.
Well, girl. at least you gave her moment in the sunshine here.
Exactly. We had a shout
Melvin
out to
Stewart's
SEC.
the white guy, though. Just so you know, I looked him up.
Oh, well.
You don't own the name.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was. Look, Melvin. If you ever know the Temptations are, that's why
I've heard of them.
Okay, yeah. Mel. But y'all, thank you for joining us for
You're
this
welcome.
episode. We out here. Brandon, any parting words?
No, I don't have anything. But I will say thank you for giving us a peek behind the curtain to fall camp, because I've never been there. I'm told you were there. I didn't see that you were there, but I assume you didn't make that whole thing up. So that was good. I like that.
I got a lot of stories in this brain and creative things to make through, but I get my best sources from real life experience.
There you go.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Have a wonderful rest of